One organization cannot do justice to the subject of Houston women, which is why HHA partnered with 21 organizations this year to create a programming collaboration called the Tales of Houston Women. 20 different programs presented over 2 months, all looking at women past, present, and future. This programming collaboration is the first of its kind in Houston, and I'm extremely proud of what we put together. You can find information about all of the programs and purchase tickets at www.talesofhoustonwomen.org. And I'm so very grateful for all of our collaborators for trusting us with this. It's been wonderful working with them to put together this collection. I think you are going to be astounded when you look at the breadth and depth of the programs that are going to be available over the next 2 months. So now I'd like to introduce Betty Trapp Chapman. She is the grande dame of Houston history. She's going to be terribly embarrassed at this introduction, but that's okay. She can suffer through that. She is also the godmother of our organization. There's no way we would exist without Betty. She was born in Tupelo, Mississippi. She got to Houston as an adult as soon as she could. Betty's column, Houston Heritage, appeared weekly for 20 years in the Houston Business Journal. Her other published works include Houston Women, Invisible Threads in the Tapestry, and Rough Road to Justice. The journey of women lawyers in Texas. She's laughing at the way I'm reading her book titles back here in the wings. Her accomplishments are many, but compiled together, they could never approach the size of her heart. Ladies and gentlemen, Betty Trapp Chapman.
What Cecilia did not say is that I'm sure I'm the oldest person in the room too. And it's very appropriate then that what I'm going to do in 10 minutes, that was the time I was given, is talk about the past. I'm going to talk about the women from the past on whose shoulders we stand today because of the actions and ideas and everything that they did. Cora Bacon Foster appeared at the polls in her 3rd Ward, she's up there, in her 3rd Ward neighborhood in 1891, and as a taxpayer and business owner, demanded to vote as a matter of gender equality. The astonished males holding the election allegedly accepted her ballot. It may not have been counted, we don't know. Nevertheless, it would be almost 3 decades before Mrs. Foster could legally vote. Suffragist Annette Flanagan tirelessly fought for the passage of the 19th Amendment that gave women the vote after a 75-year struggle. A group of women, led by Adele Luskin and Elizabeth Ring, regularly berated city officials for their failure to provide a free public library, and then took positive action in raising money to acquire a site for the library that became a reality in 1904. In 1900, artist Emma Richardson Cherry and teachers Lydia Atkinson, Roberta Cavender, and Kara Redwood called a meeting of women in the city at the home of Lavinia Lovett to organize the Public School Art League as a means of providing art education in the local schools. The members of PSAL spent years raising money, purchasing art reproductions, teaching students, and educating the public through the renamed Houston Art League. The result was the opening of the Museum of Fine Arts in 1924. Attorney Hortense Ward, a strong proponent of women's rights, worked relentlessly to get the Married Woman's Property Law passed in 1913, the first move toward freeing married women in Texas from being under the legal control of their husbands. Businesswoman Florence Sterling expanded her vehement suffrage activity into becoming a founder of the Houston League of Women Voters, organized to provide information on the function of government and the responsibilities of citizenship. Alice Graham Baker gathered a group of women in her living room in 1907 and organized the Houston Settlement Association in order to provide needed services in the city's second ward with its large immigrant population. The Houston Settlement Association became neighborhood centers and was recently renamed Baker Ripley for Mrs. Baker, serving 500,000 Houstonians each year. Annie Hagan, a trained nurse and midwife, organized the first nurses training club in Houston in 1915 so that residents in the underserved Fourth Ward neighborhood could receive health care. Jenny Bell Covington, who led in the founding of the Blue Triangle YWCA for young black women in 1918, was named chair of the Negro Women's Division of the Texas Commission on Interracial Cooperation, which was formed in 1926 to address interracial reform across the state and to advocate for change. And that was in 1926. Julia Idison, head librarian for the Houston Public Library for 42 years, led in the founding in 1926 of the Open Forum, an organization that brought distinguished but controversial, nationally known speakers to Houston to preserve First Amendment rights by engaging in spirited but civil public discourse. And the Open Forum continued for 10 years. Agnes Carter Nelms, concerned in 1936 about women without the means to afford private health care, became a founder of the Maternal Health Center of Houston, which evolved into Houston's Planned Parenthood. El Club Femenino Chapultepec, composed of young Latina working women during the Depression years, was intent on educating Latina girls and finding secure jobs for them when they entered the working world. Angelina Morales, the first licensed female mortician in Houston, fought for the admission of Mexican Americans to local hospitals for treatment and for their children to be integrated into the public school system. Lula B. White was known as the matriarch of the civil rights movement in Texas for her fearless leadership in the NAACP in the 1940s and 50s. Christia Adair, a pioneer in the struggle to integrate Houston's airports, public libraries, and department stores in the 1950s, was frequently called a bridge between the races during the civil rights movement for her calm but unrelenting demeanor. Hattie Mae White, the first black citizen elected to the Houston Independent School Board, never wavered in the pursuit of integrating the city's schools, even when a cross was burned on her lawn and threats were made against her family. Dr. Ray K. Daly, a 24-year member of the HISD board and its first female president, fought tirelessly for instituting special education classes, accepting federal aid for hot lunches and milk, and mandating racial equality in school facilities, services, and teacher salaries, the latter with the help of fellow board member Alma Hogg in the 1940s. And even when Daly lost a battle, she never gave up. Dr. Kate Bell, HISD teacher and president of the Texas State Teachers Association, put her job and even her life on the line as she steadfastly opposed the 1950s Red Scare movement that was spreading fear in the community and threatening the removal of teachers and administrators from their jobs. Ovida Kolb-Hobby, well known for the important national role she held in government, was also known for celebrating and advocating for women. The local television station under her direct supervision was the first in Texas to hire a woman for on-air reporting, the first in Houston to hire an African-American woman reporter, and the host of the nation's first woman sports anchor. Dr. Catherine Sue immigrated from China as a young female physician to achieve her lifelong dream of finding a preventative treatment to halt the spread of childhood tuberculosis and then educating populations around the world in adopting it. Anita Martini, the first female sports anchor in the nation, became a strong voice for equal opportunities for male and female sports journalists. Olga Solis, a political activist, businesswoman, and fearless Latina, advocated for causes from education to women's issues to voting rights, and in doing so, mentored many younger women. Ninfa Lorenzo, just want to be sure I've got the right pictures up there, a recent widow and mother of 5, facing the bankruptcy of her small tortilla factory in 1973, set up a 10-table restaurant in the factory, and by using her cooking skills and family labor, this woman established a restaurant empire beyond her expectations. Barbara Jordan, the first black woman elected to Congress from the South, became a powerful voice for granting equal rights to all Americans and opened the way for other minority women to run for office. And so that is our group of women who came before us. They were willing to agitate, they educated, and they advocated. And certainly it has made a difference in the lives of those of us today. And it will be incumbent, I think, for those of us today to develop those shoulders that the future generations can stand on.